Thanks so much for joining us on today's episode of TECHBRIDGE. There is something that is so clear here, and it is the fact that the amount of exposure you have and the amount of data you have access to determines to a large extent how well you fare in the tech space and generally about your life, because it is all about technology, and technology is just right here for us, right here within us, and to help us get better. I am Sheyi Fumiolátidé. I welcome you to TECHBRIDGE today. So it's another fresh episode, and like we say, it is all about the future. We talk about the future, we talk about technology. Really, if you think of it, technology is actually the language of the future. And the future is not somewhere far from this place. It is just right here with us. And the earlier we begin to realize that technology is here to work for us and not against us, the better it is for all of us. So I go for this quick break. Don't go anywhere. It's still TECHBRIDGE on Lagos Television. Thanks for staying with us. It is still TECHBRIDGE on Lagos Television, and I was talking about the fact that technology is here to work with us, to work for us, to help us and not against us. And if you begin to realize the fact that there are a lot of things you can achieve with technology beyond, let's say, all the technicalities, there are things that can work for you. And those are the offerings we bring on this show. Now, think of it. You might have seen this before, that you enter your home, you don't have to touch any switch, or you have to monitor what happens where, and you don't have to start calling up people. You can do all of that just on your phone or on your system. A lot of offering. You want to know where what is, and you can put all of that together in just one system. I'm talking about Internet of Things. And if you ask me, that is where the future is. So let's begin to think about it. There are lots of definitions, of course, by various scholars, and all of them have their perspectives about Internet of Things. And before I call on our guest, I'll be reading out some definitions of what this is. So the first one I'm picking is from Matthew Evans, and he says that simply, the Internet of Things is made up of devices from simple sensors to smartphones and wearables connected together. That is the first one. And another one is coming. It says that it's about networks, it's about devices, it's about data. 3 components mentioned there. By the time you begin to put all of this together, you begin to have a clearer picture of what Internet of Things actually is. Let me pick like 2 more, then let's see. Alright, so this one says that IoT, that is Internet of Things, offers us opportunity to be more efficient in how we do things, saving us time, money, and often emissions in the process. That is still according to Evans. So when you put all of this together, you realize that Internet of Things is something that is actually for us. It is human being. It is our life. It is about our well-being. So if you begin to think about that, you realize that things are not the same. Things are not the way they used to be in the last, let's say, 20 years. And it can only get better with technology. I'll be linking up with our guest via Skype today. Don't go anywhere. It's still TECHBRIDGE on Lagos Television.
Hi, my name is Confidence Stavely. I'm an ethical hacker. Keep watching TECHBRIDGE on Lagos Television.
So thanks for connecting with us. It's still TECHBRIDGE on Lagos Television. So I'll be linking up with our guest just about now via Skype. And let me tell you some few things about him. He is a professor of intelligence infrastructure systems at the Manchester Metropolitan University in the United Kingdom. And I'm talking about Professor Bamidele Adebisi. Prof, thanks for joining us on today's show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about this. We talk Internet of Things, and we just want to know your own perspective, your own explanation, your own definition of what IoT is.
Thank you. So Internet of Things in itself is not a technology. It's not a single technology or a specific device. It's actually internetworking of various objects, various technologies, whether software or hardware, all of them connected together over the internet. And ultimately, the aim is to use this interconnection of objects, everyday objects actually, to improve quality of life, to acquire data from your environment, to make sense of those data, and to ultimately help in improving your well-being.
Okay, thanks for that. So let's look at this way. What are the drivers behind Internet of Things? What should we be looking at? What really describes it? What are the components? Please share with us.
Thank you. So Internet of Things in itself is not a technology. It's not a single technology or a specific device. It's actually internetworking of various objects, various technologies, whether software or hardware, all of them connected together over the internet. And ultimately, the aim is to use this interconnection of objects, everyday objects actually, to improve quality of life, to acquire data from your environment, to make sense of those data, and to ultimately help in improving your well-being. The drivers behind all this is, one, the fact that we want to address some of the challenges in our society and want to do them in a smarter way. Secondly, it's also that there are new technologies that are now available which were not there before. So example is, mobile phone. With your mobile phone, you can not just collect data through the camera, through sensors. You can actually also use your mobile phone for data analytic and also for connectivity. There are also new technologies that were not available before, like, IPv4 is that technology that enables you to identify every object on the internet. It was going to be totally exhausted because we've used almost everything on IPv4, but now we have IPv6, which is several billions and trillions of IP addresses are now available, and many other things that were not there before, such as artificial intelligence and improve video quality and so on, that are now available.
Okay.
So these are the drivers of Internet of Things.
Now, I will still take you back a little. You talk about connection of devices. So let me ask you, what are we connecting? Or let me say, what are we supposed to connect and what are we not supposed to connect when it comes to IoT?
Thank you very much. I think before I answer this question, it would be good if I kind of explain what it means for something to be smart. Because the whole essence of this is that we want to make things better, and in doing so, we want to reduce human intervention as much as possible. And you may be wondering why that. The reason for that is, to be honest, you want to sleep, I'm sure, when it gets to a certain time in the night.
Sure.
You do make mistakes, you have emotion, and that actually, there are limitations within us as human. And sometimes we want to just leverage on something that is more efficient. Therefore, we want things to be smart. And how do you make something smart? The simple way of making an object, an asset, smart is, one, you acquire data from that object. You call it sensing. So by creating a sensor, embedding a sensor in that object, it gives you information about it. And then the data that you acquire, you can actually translate it by sending it using connectivity into a database. You use communication systems in doing that. So in the cloud or wherever you store those data, you can then perform data analytics, to make sense of the data. That gives you knowledge. Data in itself, okay, gives you have information from the data, But when you finish your analysis, you have knowledge. And actually, sometimes you have broader knowledge by correlating the data you have from one sensor with another sensor with another sensor, and so on and so forth. And actually, ultimately, what you want is wisdom, which is applied knowledge. And in that, you go back to your source of data to say, oh, well, do this, all right? Act on that, which is an action. So back to your question about what do we connect? We connect an object. So I'll give you an example.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
If you have a room, you have a room, and in that room, you have a baby, and you have other things within the room, and you are somewhere else, but you still want to be able to monitor this baby. So you have sensors that show you if there's movement in that room, maybe a sensor that is showing whether whether the baby is crying or not, a sensor that is telling you about the temperature. There's a sensor connected to the window, actuator connected to the windows and the doors, and so on and so forth. You can connect as many sensors as you want. And all these sensors, is to sense the acquired data. Each of them send their data to a central server. And that's just information about, so you get information about, okay, this is cold now, this is hot, this is crying, this baby is sleeping, and so on. By performing data analytic on it, okay, you have knowledge about, that room is now too hot. Okay, yeah. And in fact, I can tell you why it is too hot. Maybe it is too hot because the AC is not on, or maybe the weather is actually very hot. Then you can, so that's knowledge, that's acquired knowledge based on, data that you have acquired, information that you have from this data. And then you can then perform another thing, which is, put on the AC at this X, Y, Z temperature. An actuator make that happen automatically. So asking the question about what do you connect? You connect every object that you want information from, and you connect it to the platform where you want to perform your data analytic. And then you also have to connect to whatever that you want to act upon. Open that door, close the door now. Close it, maybe not fully, maybe just narrowly, and so on. So that's what IoT is all about. You can apply this in health, in energy, transport, every aspect of life.
All right. So having said that, that is really massive. But there are also challenges about the security aspect of it. We know that we can't take away cybersecurity from offerings of new technologies. So what do you have to say about this? What are the challenges? What are the concerns and reservations we should be looking at in this perspective?
When you look at IoT, IoT, as I said, is connecting things together. And it's to solve societal challenges. It's to improve our well-being. Well-being, actually, security is a measure of well-being. So if you have an idea that, I feel secure in my home or on the street when I walk around, it's an improvement in your well-being. So security itself is actually a societal challenge, prior to IoT. So IoT, I would say, rather than being a problem, is actually a solution to security, because by connecting your homes, connecting every lamppost on the street, connecting your cars and all the assets, as many assets as you can on the street, you can make people feel more secure, because you can acquire data about what is going on. You can treat those data real time and make informed decision quickly. So, which actually improves security. However, because of the proliferation of things that are now connected to the internet, it actually means, malicious people can actually get access to this data and use it in a wrong way, which is, the whole problem of cybersecurity. That is a challenge, and it's a challenge that can also be solved. And IoT actually gives you the opportunity to solve that quickly, because just like somebody can remotely connect to your home and steal data, so can someone remotely connect to your home and secure you using cybersecurity solutions. Security is obviously a concern, and that is being addressed. It's been addressed by having the right cybersecurity solution. Well, Other areas where people are concerned include privacy, ethical issues about who is in charge of the data, who owns the data, and how do we ensure that the data don't get in the wrong hands. Also the challenge of interoperability. Many of the devices are developed, designed by different companies, and sometimes they don't talk to each other. So hopefully in the future, the aim is to have a unified standard where all these connected devices can actually be speaking similar, if not the same language. There's also the challenge of legal framework. There are challenges of the fact that there are so many unknowns as well yet, which still require a lot of research and development. But yes, most of these challenges are things or concerns that things that are being addressed now, and I believe it's a journey which evolve with time.
Well, it's going to get better. So now let's look at this, Prof. There are concerns that IoT would take away jobs from human beings and give them to automated systems and robots. How true is this? Is there anything to be afraid of?
Actually, job, again, is part of how you measure well-being. Because job creation and the satisfaction of job is very important. So it's a challenge. And the question is, if IoT is something that is adopted all across the world, obviously there's some jobs or tasks, I would say, that may not be necessary because that will be taken over by robots or other automated systems. However, new jobs will be created as a result of that. And the skills that people acquired in their previous jobs could obviously be transferred to new jobs. Just like when you had a computer, people were worried about job loss as a result of computer, but actually the advent of computers in the hands of many people means that we have more jobs in that area rather than losing jobs.
Okay, I think that gives us some hope. So now, Prof, you've done a lot of interventions in this field, talking about smart grid, smart this, smart that, IoT. So could you just give us some insight into some of the things you've done over there and also right here in Nigeria?
All right. So, with IoT, this is something that we do within my team. In the lab, we actually have a lab here, Manchester Met, where you go in the room and you have occupancy detection. It tells you the number of people in that particular lab. The lights go on as as required. What you can call an intelligent room, really, because it's for occupancy detection. And in future you can link that to timetabling, for example. So in a university, you can based on the number of people that attend a particular lecture, you use that to determine the room that you allocate to a particular course. So again, a few years ago, we were awarded a 10 million grants by the UK government. The total grant for the project is about 60 million to carry out IoT for smart city project. The project is called CityVerve. The whole aim is, to use IoT in smart cities. So we use it in transport, in electric vehicles, electric bikes, bus stops, street lights, different assets within the community. We're connected together. We acquire data. We do a lot of data analytics, which helps the city to be smart. And recently we started a project in Nigeria, which is supported by Innovate UK and DFID, which is about how you can use solar panel in a building, combine that with battery, combine it even with your diesel generator, and you optimize how and when you use energy in a very efficient way. And when you have excess of such energy, how you can actually trade it or share it with your neighbor. Wow. So that's the project we're doing. Now, when you look at that, the intervention here is energy. But actually, you can't do all this without connecting the battery, the solar panel, the assets, the appliances within the building. You can't really do all this optimization without connecting them together. And this is where IoT comes in.
Okay, thanks so much for that explanation. This very last one I'm going to be asking you. From all we gather, we see that it is for ease of life. IoT brings ease of life, makes us work faster and better. So let's talk about the cost implication. How expensive is it?
Okay, yes. So in terms of cost, I think it's just like every challenge that we may have. If you're going for a party and you need to put clothes on, it's usually a function of what is the party about. What is your role in the party? How much do you have in your pocket? Among others. All right. So the same with IoT. So you have a farm, and you think, look, the cattle that you have in the farm, you have to, give them some treatments, or the things that you do to them, and you want it to be recorded, and you want it done automatically. Fine, so then you will need to think about how you actually connect all these sensors to them. So if you want to locate, you want to know where your every cow kind of wandered to, fine, you put a location sensor. You want to know their temperature or something about them that tells you automatically if they are ill or not, fine. If you want to know whether they are pregnant or they are ready for milk, it depends on really what you want, how much you have, and what you want to get out of it. So it's going to be business case. It's not rigid. It's not something about where it's just like I said. I'm sure in Nigeria we have that proverb of, you're going for a party. The clothes is a function of your role at the party, what the party is about, and how much you have.
So thanks so much for connecting with us, Professor Bamidele Adebisi. We hope to connect with you some other time. It's been a wonderful time talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that's our Professor Bamidele Adebisi, Professor of Intelligence Infrastructure Systems at Manchester Metropolitan University. Quite insightful. So we begin to see that the explanation and the conversation is beyond here, and it calls for enlightenment, more enlightenment from every stakeholder to begin to key into this. It is not something to be afraid of. It is actually something that we should embrace. It's still okay with technology. So that's our show today. Many thanks for joining us. Remember that you can connect with us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are TECHBRIDGE LTV. And of course, on YouTube, we are TECHBRIDGE LTV. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can have a prompt of every fresh episode that we upload. And of course, you can have access to all other previous episodes we've dumped on that same channel. So till some other time, I am Sheyi Fumiola today. Keep leveraging on technology, keep achieving more, and keep innovating. Bye for now.